veggies.
What and veggies Wow, good evening viewers. It's good to be here. Yes. Thank you for tuning in every other day, every other Monday. It is a privilege to have you tuning in, listening to what we have to say here. Yeah, it is a special day. We have a Salongo, new Salongo this week.
Freshest.
But also a baby of 1 day. Wow. My wife called me baby this morning.
Oh, so that's nice.
Yes, so it is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you. Please tune in and stay glued to your screen. Thank you.
All right, so so let's jump into this topic.
That one.
This one. I'm going to start with you, Salongo.
Yeah.
Salongo, how come that these days girls are better prepared for marriage than boys? Because I know that we're having this discussion earlier, that in the African tradition, it was almost equal. The boys were prepared almost as well as the girls were. But along the way, things have changed. Girls now, the preparation for girls is way better. In fact, some boys marry without ever being prepared or even having any kind of preparatory talks from any of their people. While the girls, the moment she says, I have a fiancé, she's going to be, prepared for. She's going to talk to all the singers. But the boys are, so we'll start with you, then we'll come down to you, Livingston.
Well, talk about the role of government. They've had a very big role in shaping how boys grow up and how girls grow up.
Government?
I think government, yes. It goes back to the policy framers for policies like emancipation. They completely did not think about boys, and forever they are not yet to have that included in their policies. And it is something that we should, maybe as men, talk about, and government should think that now, well, we're now raising a very bad generation of husbands.
Yeah.
And
the boy child was
the boy child. We are only focusing on the girl child. And also, government aside, we're also the traditional institutions. You've heard of Chisakate for boys?
No,
there's no Chisakate for boys.
Definitely. And these are the traditional institutions that back in the day were instrumental in shaping the lives of men and girls, men and women. And that's how in the traditional society, in the typical African society, it was not just the role of a husband and the wife to bring up a child. It was man, the wife, the community, the traditional society, the traditional institutions, and the churches and others.
So it took a real village. I mean, that phrase is right.
I think there is a Luganda saying, "Omwana kuzibwa," something like that. That a child is brought up by entire society, by a community.
Yes, the community raises the
and
child.
that's how you commit an offense outside your parents' space, and someone outside there, some neighbor, or even not a neighbor, someone don't even know would punish you.
Yes.
And will tell you, go tell your parents that I've punished you.
The one was beaten you.
Yes, and when you tell the parents will add
they
from
also
there.
Add on top of
and they
that.
wouldn't take offense.
It was okay.
Yes, so it is a major shift.
Touch someone's child and
definitely. And today there's a major shift in how traditional institutions are dealing with these problems. I think they've also followed suit, just like government. They followed what the government is doing. Major focus is, yes, girls have been more vulnerable for all this time. We understand. But then we've had a mindset that boys are bold, but bold to bring out what? They will only bring out nonsense. We find so many marriages are failing because of men who are impatient, men who lack empathy, men who lack interpersonal skills like financial management, because nobody sat him down. And these are the guys you find telling you, my money, I know how I spend my money, and you don't have an idea of how I make my money, and so I should spend it the way I want. So that is a major shift. Also come back to how our families were back then and today. Our families back then were kojas, would talk to the boys, whereas the singers would talk to the girls. Do you know where your koja is? Some of our kojas, we meet them in bars.
That's true.
Or sit today, and you're like, hi uncle, and hi uncle.
You even say hi uncle, you just wink at each other like brother.
Exactly. So Today,
Yeah.
Tuina never koja, people that have the fundamental roles of bringing the boy child, growing the boy child up. These fundamental roles are on them, but they do not stop at not doing the roles, but also they are shameless.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
And even some
uncle
of them don't know because they also are never prepared.
Definitely, something like that.
You find a very non-functional koja in your life. All you know is that guy is an uncle. But in terms of that proper connection as a son,
You're distant,
Totally distant,
the family is the other side, the uncle is the other side. You only see your uncle once in a year, or when you have burial arrangements or weddings
Some
or
event.
something, some event at home. So things like that. So to me, I think it is a major shift in society that has caused this.
and you think government had a huge role?
Government has a huge role, being the fundamental framer of any policy.
So
And
they
you know-
sort of, as they were pushing out the girl child empowerment,
exactly.
movement at that time,
Yes.
they should have done the same also for the boy child.
Or
in
if
a
they
way.
if there was no urgency then, if there was no need then, maybe today there
Yes,
should be a
they should
discussion.
have done
There
some
should be a
kind-
discussion
yeah.
about that. That now we are raising very ill-mannered boys, very ill-mannered husbands, without a single umwana. A boy, taina mo ya empathy, no communication skills, and those ones that have managed to be at least good husbands, you see there is deliberate effort by parents to do that. So to me, it is the major shift in how we
manage
Yes,
this.
we raise our kids. Yes.
Birthday boy.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. That is a very, very, important question. You realize that a society, the 8 years African traditional society, yes, I think has done a lot, yes, in creating, what we see today. Yeah, because when you think about it, I think it is the position where man has been placed. Yes. As in, society had a lot of belief in us, a lot of faith in us, a lot of trust in men. As in, a man was not questionable. Yes, not questionable. You are the man in the house, the African city. Africana city that you usually talk about, yes.
Your dad has his own chair,
Exactly.
his own cup, plate.
As in, we are, yes, we are brought
I
up
still
in a
practice
way.
some.
Exactly.
When you come to my home, they'll tell you.
No, you don't sit there. You also have it.
Hey, brother. You'll be there.
When you get to the sitting room, the remote.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that,
Hey, they
that
don't
kind of setup
Yes.
has brought a lot of issues. Yes, and you see, women have also been looked at as the weaker sex, very vulnerable, weaker, as in all the attention has been diverted to a woman, directed to them. Yes. And when you think about it, they say any marriage that has fallen or any family that has not made it through, it is usually the woman who is responsible. You are the pillar in that home. Whether your husband provides or not, make sure you go fending for the children. Whether he does this, or, as long as he doesn't actually do their roles, they expect the woman
So literally, the woman
to
goes
step
in knowing
in.
she's the one
Exactly.
who is
You
going to
are the
hold this.
one in charge. Yes, you're the one in charge.
And I think
The other one is
churches
the
also,
boss.
churches also have that kind of a mindset that having a prayerful husband, having a prayerful wife is better.
It's
Is
better than
better,
having
yes.
a prayer for exactly.
Exactly, yes. Because you're expected
very
to
good
be the
point.
pillar in your home, in your marriage. Yes. So you're keeping a very drunkard husband, you're keeping a very irresponsible husband who doesn't provide, and then who is violent because they want to be felt. Their presence has to be felt. They are the people in charge. You see that? So we end up focusing on the woman, make sure it is this is it. You see that? And you realize that most of the problems we have in marriages today are purely caused by men. Yes, men that have not been brought up in a way
That's very true.
that is befitting. You see that? And then we have a lot of issues that are happening. So it is our forefathers, our grandparents that have actually caused us some of these issues. But I would advise that the shift now, so there is a shift in a way. Yes, there is a change. We now start focusing on men
And you
being
know-
the in
yeah,
charge
yeah.
of a marriage, the in charge of a home. we have a very pivotal role
I totally agree
in
with
making
you.
sure
Yeah,
that
absolutely
the
agree. You
family,
see,
the marriage is firm.
if you've been given a position or a role, for example, in an organization or
Right.
whatever, naturally you're going to do everything you can to prepare yourself for it.
No,
You know,
exactly.
you'll do everything you can to prepare because they have selected you. They said you're the supervisor and the head of this. Unfortunately, with marriage, that is not there. I mean, I would really want to prepare the head of the household. And I like what you and what you're saying is true. A lot of focus has gone, unfortunately, on the women. As I mean, look at books, how to be a good wife, how to do this.
Yeah.
Anything to do with the home, it's always woman.
The
I think there's
power
an
of a praying
assumption
wife.
that
So
men have the power, men can hold themselves, men can take themselves there, forgetting that even power without control.
It's the worst.
yeah,
nothing.
Yes,
Exactly.
and that's why we are lacking good husbands. You have very many good wives, by the way.
Yeah, very.
many good wives. But good husbands are accountable.
exactly.
It should be a fairly good balance.
And remember, much as the woman might be good and the husband is lacking, it takes two to tango.
Yes,
Exactly.
she gets emotionally
Yes.
drained. That emotional bank you can't keep withdrawing
Because,
from
exactly.
it.
As
Hey,
long as
to what
the woman
extent?
is doing their part and you're not, trust me, there is no way this is going to
It
work
cracks.
out.
Remember we
It
talked about
cracks
those cracks
eventually.
one time. Eh?
Yeah.
Cracks in a marriage.
It
some
eventually
communication.
cracks, and it is a matter of time. Yeah. So much as the woman is very pivotal, trust me, there is a lot that a husband has to do.
Very good point. So,
Yeah.
they're very important, very interesting things. The African tradition had both an amazing way of handling it, but they also had another way you've brought another dynamic. That, that Africanicity you like talking about. Men were very central, they had power, etc. They were prepared also in that way. And
they
then the
believed
women
in
were
us a
looked at
lot.
as, slightly weaker, so to speak, for lack of a better word, and so needed extra preparation. And they were looked at as the pillars of a home.
Right.
And that's why, we both had rites of passage. The moment you are an adolescent, you expected, go out, build a small hut, go and hunt.
Exactly.
Go and look. Also, the girls had rite of passage. The moment you're this, they start preparing. And the preparation.
Actually, with men, you are taught self-sustenance
Yes.
and provision for
And
your family.
sort yourself, exactly.
And more so, how to be a man in your home.
Yeah.
Actually, my uncle always used to tell me, the first thing that you should give respect for is being a strong man in your home. Never be weak in your home.
Do not be
So there are certain things you should do to test if anyone is contesting your power. So if someone is contesting your power, choose a common vuba.
Like, now imagine that.
Exactly.
You know,
so I think to them, much as there was no.
Oh my God.
The way you fish.
And it's,
Yeah, but
and it's
also-
sadly true.
Yes, of course.
Definitely.
And that is who we have, our generation of men.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When we are contested, even when our wives have the right to contest a decision, we will change.
Yeah,
certain
but you
Just
see
to
what,
feel you are the
what
man
your
at
uncle,
home.
Feel we are the
you
man.
see
And
what
that's
your uncle
what-
told
that's
you,
important.
and
That's
what your
cool.
uncle told you, that never be weak in your home. Was it in terms of strength? Was it in terms of decision making? You see that? So that alone puts you at the forefront of oppressing or suppressing your wife if you're not careful. For some men, yes, because
The line
you
is
might
very thin.
exactly you might end up
very
not
easy to
even
abuse,
taking
yeah.
to abuse her.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
might think that now I am meant not to be weak in my home. You won't listen from your wife. You won't seek or consult her about anything. As in, you won't.
But
give
you
her
admit it
special
is very
consideration.
important.
It is
It's
very important.
much as there is need to strike a balance.
Yeah, but you see, okay, this other side of Christianity, what makes me strong in my home is making sure that I'm fair across board. Yes.
Fair to who?
Fair to my spouse. I must be fair in a way.
As
If
in
I'm,
you
if I'm
dis-
taking
the-
decisions,
you both have equal
exactly
contributions to
Thank you so
decisions and
much. She's
etc.,
able to
yes.
consult me, I'm able to consult
Consult
her.
her.
Exactly.
And
Now,
you-
by me consulting her about something, that doesn't make me a weak husband at all. It doesn't make me less of a man in my house.
So a strong husband is not described by how much pain you inflict,
Exactly.
how much unfair you are.
Exactly.
You,
Some
you should
people
not be
might-
questioned what time you come back. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
that is what you're saying.
And it's unfortunate
Exactly.
because some of our boys, the only training or preparation they have is their fathers who are like that. So he looks at his dad, who was abusive
You know,
to their mother, is that authoritarian person. There is no discussion.
Yeah.
You can't want. And the boy looks at that and says, "This is actually. I mean, my dad did this. I've had guys say that. And he managed to live with my wife for 40 years.
There is a gentleman who was doing for me something. I've just
that.
remembered doing some work for me. So later in the night at about 9, I called back. I missed his call. Yes. So I'm like, oh, by the way, I want to talk to this guy. Where is he? I expected him to pick my call, but it is actually the wife
Who picked?
who picked. And I'm like, can I speak to this person? I thought I was going to talk to him directly. You know what she told me? That he left the phone behind. So I'm like, oh, where has he gone? And you know what she told me? Oli muntu mukulu bamubuuza gy'alaze. Oli mwami bamubuuza gy'alaze. So that is very irresponsible of a man. For you to step out at night and your wife is not in the know where you have gone. Yeah,
That's true.
Exactly. Because Keith, my wife knows that I'm at Bethany TV right now. And by 9 I will be leaving to go back home. So this is where she expects me to be. Yeah. Now for me to tell her that I'm going to be at the TV for a show, it doesn't make me
I mean, we've had stories where men have been arrested in lodges and different places, and the wife thought he's somewhere else.
So it has nothing to do with with church teaching,
but
with the NLO, but it has everything to do with being responsible.
Being responsible makes you a
Basically.
very strong husband. You don't have to be taking a bucket of beers to be strong. You don't have to be oppressing your wife to be strong. You don't have to be, you know, everyone fears you when you return home, and then you think you're so strong and
There
so
are
much
people who
in
like
charge.
that thing. Or when I entered the house, when
Everyone
I entered,
took cover.
everybody ran away. Viewers, you are watching Bethany TV. This is The Code, a show for men. By the way, we are live on YouTube for those who want to get there, and all other platforms. Bethany TV UG. We are also on Twitter. Our website is also up.
Right.
And on many other apps. We are now right now going for a short break. We'll be right back after the break. Please don't go away.
Thank you.
Right.
Bethany TV for health. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to introduce Bethany Santa Omugabi, who will be sharing wonderful goodies with you this Christmas season.